Hello everybody, welcome back to It's Current Year for another quick battle ladder replay. Today we are I'm replaying a game between Red Legion and Legi0n with a Zeros best of 7 match, which I streamed alongside HapyPupy the other night. This game, I believe this was either game 5 or game 6 in the series, and this was a real highlight of the series for mine. We'll give it a quick pause and we'll go through the armies. For the Empire, who Legion with a 0 is playing, we have Sigmar's Sons and a front line of Spearmen with shields. Looks like a few chevrons have been put into a couple of these units. We have 2 units of Empire Knights directly behind them, a couple of units of Reiksguard in the forest here. Off to the other flank here, we have another unit of Reiksguard here and a unit of Demigryph Knights. So a very, very solid cavalry corps. 2 units of Empire Knights, 3 units of Reiksguard, and units of Demigryph Knights off there in the forest. For his heroes, he has taken a Mage of Fire who has taken Fireball, Cascading Firecloak, Burning Head, and the Power Stone. And for his general today, we have Boris Todbringer, who is pretty decent in this matchup. Obviously, regeneration with the Midland Runefang sort of gets rid of the need for a life caster. The White Cloak of Ulrich, along with Crush the Weak and the Blood Roar. Yeah, he's just a big debuff. He's just a big debuff bomb, and against a faction like the Beastmen, who don't have great stats naturally, he's actually a pretty competitive pick. Over to the Beastmen. Front line of Ungor Spearmen herd with shields, and likewise a very, very mobile force. 4 units of Razorgore Horde, 2 units of regular Minotaurs with shields with the Butchers of Kalkengard ROR in the middle, 3 units of Ungor Raiders in the rear. For his heroes, he has a Bray Shaman of Beasts who has taken Flock of Doom and the Manticore Summons along with the Jagged Dagger. And for his Hit Lord today, we have Morga the Shadowgave with his Staff of Ruinous Corruption for his Chaos Summon. So we'll put it on play as the 2 armies sort of square up to one another. I love this Beastman build. It sort of just epitomizes the Beastman. Hit hard, hit fast, punch through the front lines with your pigs and with the good attack animations of the Minotaurs. Get through into the value target. A lot of damage dealing potential, but like most Beastman builds, can be a bit of a glass cannon. So it requires some skill to use effectively, but definitely the potential for a lot of offensive power in this build. So right off the bat, one of the reasons, this build aside, one of the reasons that this game was a highlight for me is what you are going to see in a second is one of the best fireballs I think I have ever seen in a game of Total War Warhammer. So as the 2 units, or as the 2 armies rather, sort of square up to one another, we'll see the front lines begin to clash. And we have our Fire Mage over here who's gonna just surveying his options at the moment. He's going to come in, pop the Power Stone and launch a Fireball somewhat riskily through the trees. But have a look what this does to the Butchers of Kalkengard. 4 unit models and about 1/3 of their HP in one Fireball. Unbelievable. I have not seen anything like that in a game of Total War before. So great value start there for Legion 0. The front lines hit, and obviously the power of the Beastmen is on display here in the early game, but a couple of great cycle charges, or not cycle charges, but a few counter charges here by the Reiksguard, by the Empire Knights, making their presence known out of the trees, and after a good start, look at the damage they've taken already. Little counter attack here by the Empire. Pretty strong pocket for the Beastmen over here, and a couple of units of infantry just being held back just to plug holes where necessary, and starting to come in here. The Ungors have now been spotted and are getting some good shots in. The Reiksguard, the Demigryph Knights with halberds have countercharged here into the Butchers of the Kalkengard, and they've got 15 kills, and the majority of them, Sigmar's Sons, decent unit, but just getting no value on a very, very expensive, very valuable target there. Boris is dropping down, and you can see what he's doing you see what he does to the stats on the unit card there. Both the summons from Morgur have gone down pretty early. Needs to get this one in, Red Legion, into the fight, but this is a very strong pocket here for the Beastmen. This flank, a little bit more secure over here for the Empire. Again, I like that this unit of Spearmen is actually just being held back in reserve. Keep them healthy. Let the Demigryph Knights here with halberds with their bonus versus large, mop up these guys and move these guys in where you need. But we see this just big horde of Beastmen on this side milling around, getting as much value as he can from his spawn. I mean, Spearmen, you have to take it where you can. Obviously, spawn aren't going to catch the Reichsguard, but they will start dissipating pretty soon. The tattered remains of the Sigmar's sons here, trying to sort of just keep the Ungor herd busy. This is a bit of a mistake here by Legion Zero, however. Now, obviously, you do want to, Butchers of Kalkengard do regenerate, but he's overchased with a full health Boris Todbringer. There is a, tattered unit of Empire Knights that should be ferrying these guys off. Boris needs to come back to the main fight here. His debuffs are going to be really, really important in this main engagement because the Beastmen have sort of steadied here. The infantry from the Empire has been absolutely ground down, and you look around the field and there's even, the remaining units of Knights, 31 Reichsguard Knights here, pretty tattered, and they're going to be set upon by Minotaurs and Piggies soon. This unit of Demigryph Knights with halberds still has 13 unit models, but, is going to start losing unit models very quickly given how tattered they are. And a little pocket here forming around Morgur, trying to just get some snipes in with the Bright Wizard here. Unfortunately, that fireball couldn't emulate the first one, and I don't think it even hit Morgur at all. And as you see, the Empire force now is just sort of tattered and in a bit of disarray. Summoned Manticore over here is probably going to see off these, or they're terror routed, but this is going to start to sort of start to degen and get off in a sec here, but he'll probably see them off the battlefield. Nice rear charge by these regrouped Empire Knights into the Ungor herd, but I mean that they're not really designed to take charges too well, Ungor Spearmen, but there is sort of enough here, and Boris, as we said before, is still full health and just hasn't really been able to do what he needs to do. 24 kills, but in a main fight he's a real force multiplier. The rest of your troops are going to be landing more hits with their with the debuffed melee defense, and obviously with his leadership and the fact that he's a terror causer, he can really get down a lot of chain terror outs, which the Beastmen are very, very susceptible to. And it's just tattered pockets of Empire, remaining troops coming back to the fight here. Spearmen, they're going to get seen off by these rampaging Razor Gores. Reichsguard, 22 models left. Reichsguard are an anti-infantry specialist. There's just not a lot left that they're really going to like fighting. I mean, these Minotaurs are going to make short work of them. They can hang on these Ungor Raiders, but they just don't have any support at this stage. Over here, the Butchers of Kalkengard, as you see, they're getting a bit of regen, but they're sort of out of the game. They've been herded off. And at this stage, the Beastmen will just sort of reassemble around this brilliant statue of Sigmar here. Get a look at him. Great. Good work, Sigmar. And as you see now, apart from the tattered remains coming back, we've got a healthy Boris and a half healthy Bright Wizard. But at this stage, it's looking pretty slim for the Empire. So we'll chuck it on a bit of a fast play here just to get to the end of the game. He's trying to just get picks where he can. So, he sees obviously the Butchers of the Kalkengard coming back. But he's probably just run out of options in terms of dealing with everything that the Beastmen have left. And in a fight like this where they're winning, they're not going to be too worried about the terror. They're all pretty healthy as well. Their morale is good, and with this bunch of piggies coming back in, the Empire force will hit army losses and rout. So, like I said, I mean, one of the highlights for me obviously was that fantastic fireball. That Bright Wizard probably just about got its value with that one fireball alone, and the counter charge from the Demigryphs really worked them down. So basically no value here in the Butchers of Kalkengard, which are a great unit. But I love this Beastman build. It really does just, to me, epitomizes the Beastman as a faction. Yes, it can be fragile. Razor Gores aren't great in a vacuum. They don't have great armor. They don't have great melee defense. But on the charge, when they're charging through Ungor Spearmen, or when they're mixed amongst other relatively high profile targets, their ability to do damage is unbelievable. And obviously the armor piercing that it put down on the Empire Knights was significant. Ungor Raiders didn't do a lot, but probably didn't need to do a lot. Morgur with his summons did a bit and just sat in the pocket, grinding through infantry. The pick of Reiksguard in this matchup is, and Reiksguard Knights in general are a really interesting unit. They have good stats. They're actually not bad in prolonged combat with their anti-infantry bonus. But price-wise, I think they're 1150 gold. They can be tough to get value out of. And in this fight, yes, they'll make short work of Ungor Raiders. Yeah, they're not really going to care about the fact that Ungor Spearmen have a bit of anti-large. They're going to get a lot of kills, but against pigs, against minotaurs, there wasn't really a good target for them in this match. Beastmen aren't going to they're not going to commit to expensive infantry. So I'd say cutting them and maybe even taking 2 Knights of the Blazing Sun would have been decent. Knights of the Blazing Sun would counter the Butchers of Kalkengard as well, because they are weak to fire with their regen, as with Morgur. Possibly even a second unit of Demigryph Knights, given the amount of large targets on offer here. So yeah, an interesting pick. They aren't a bad unit. They're just in a funny spot with their price. So yeah, a bit of a highlight from the recent Best of 7 series between Legion and Red Legion. I won't spoil the result. I did stream the whole thing alongside HapyPupy. Went to 7 games. I will give that away, but one of the highlights of the 7-match series for me. So thank you very much for watching, and we'll see you next time.